Ladies and gentlemen, in this RedGameZ.com video we're going to be discussing the Xbox One's architecture from the point of view of Crytek. Recently they have been praising the Xbox One's architecture. They say it allows for faster prototyping, and also they praise the DX11 support. So of course in this video we're going to be doing some analysis on the interview, and we're going to be giving some thoughts and opinions upon it. Well, rather I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions, and I of course welcome your comments. So it's fair to say that Ryse Son of Rome is one of the better looking next generation titles, whether you're looking at it from the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 perspective. And it has had a myriad of different iterations graphically. We know, for example, that they've roughly halved the polygon count in terms of the actual characters. But what Crytek have done to counter that is they've changed the level of detail a lot. In other words, they've removed the LOD from the backgrounds. They've massively increased the shader count as well, so the shaders look a hell of a lot better in the game, improved textures, lighting, and so on. And so it could be very much argued that the game is actually probably putting about as much work onto the GPU and the CPU as it always was. So, as I said, Crytek have been quite vocal on what they've been doing, and Mike Reed has recently been speaking in an interview, and I'm going to read it out in verbatim, and then I'm going to do a little bit of analysis for you guys. Anyway, the massive leap in hardware is the most obvious thing that has helped us bring things to life with the visual fidelity never seen before on a console platform. One of the big advantages over previous console generations, is the graphical capability. Disregarding any speed improvements to the modern architecture of the system, and the DX11 support means we can now do on console what we could only do on PC. Another advantage is having effectively a PC architecture for the CPU side of things. This allows threading models and optimizations that have been done on PC to be used, allowing faster prototyping of any of the more ambitious optimizations we have put in place. They've also added something to do with Kinect. The Kinect component on Ryse is focused around voice commands to issue support orders. We tested a number of different things that include gestures, but it was something that we didn't really feel natural in the end. Players will have the option of either calling out the commands or pressing the RB button on the shoulder to the RB shoulder button on the controller to issue them. Sorry guys, I've just come back from the gym, so my blood sugar is just like dipping. One of the things that you could do was highlighted in the E3 demo, when you issue orders for the archer support and firing that catapult at the end of the level, he added. So the questions we've got to ask ourselves, what exactly does it mean about the prototyping? Well, it's not really a secret that both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are utilizing the x86 architecture. This allows quite a lot of optimizations, especially in multi-threading. We've discussed multi-threading before, and obviously both systems are using the AMD Jaguars. We know that the Xbox One, we're unsure about the PlayStation 4's clock speeds. We believe it's 1.6, but belief and truth aren't the same thing. But we know the Xbox One's is 1.75 GHz, and of course this is split over 8 cores, which means they can handle 8 threads, although 6 of those are available to games developers. So what this basically means is there's going to have to be a lot of parallelism. Basically, titles are going to have to go wide. In other words, they're going to have to split the work over many CPUs. This was done primarily because of heat and power concerns. The Xbox One's developers have already spoken about this, and they've basically stated that they wanted a low-power CPU which has a lot of parallel computing opportunities, and they want to allow developers to split the work however they want. The problem with this is most games developers don't really have that much, let's go with experience at the moment. I mean, sure, there are some games, of course, which go fairly wide. They do support multiple threads, but nowhere near as many as what, say, the modern day consoles are going to allow. Most games, 3-4 cores max. That's not all, of course. There are the exceptions, as always. But with this, they can now much easier to use PC optimizations, PC development practices, in effect, to simply prototype stuff. This is very contrary to what happened before with the previous PowerPC architecture of the Xbox 360. Also, there's also other benefits of this because of the DX11 support. I would really have liked to hear their opinions on tiled resources, obviously, because that's part of the DX11 feature set. Well, it's a later part of the DX11 feature set, DX11.2, although there's different levels of of a tiled resource support, and I would have liked to have gotten their feedback on that and whether they're utilizing it. As far as I'm aware, they haven't spoken about that yet. But anyway, this has been something that has been pretty consistent. Pretty consistently spoken about from many games developers. They've stated numerous times that one of the things that has really tickled the fancy, if you will, of next generation developers isn't necessarily the boost in performance, which of course is nice. Let's even disregard the GPU side and the CPU side for a moment. The actual memory, and we're not even talking about speed here, we're just talking about the quantity just for a moment, means that it's a hell of a lot better. For example, the Xbox 360, the developers of Bastion said that the memory, just the lack of memory meant that they had huge difficulty getting the title running at 720p. And Bastion is not exactly, Battlefield 4, and that just gives you an idea of how memory restricted the last generation is. Now we are in a much freer environment. Obviously that'll change over time, as you'd expect, but in my personal opinion, last generation, I don't think, and I've been fairly vocal on this, but I don't think that either Sony or Microsoft added in enough system RAM. I think that they should have possibly added in 768 or 1 gig, but obviously you can't just say, well, you know what, I'd like X, because then you've got prohibiting factors such as cost and sometimes, obviously, or even things such as manufacturing quantity. Regardless, it's nice to hear something good about the Xbox One's architecture. I'd have liked to have gotten their opinions on slightly more technical matters. They didn't really go too deep into this, and that, in my opinion, is a bit of a shame. I'd have liked to have gotten their feedback on tiled resources and a couple of the other features on the Xbox One, such as the coherent memory bandwidth, and I'd like to have heard their thoughts and opinions on that. Obviously, some people would cry foul no matter what they said, because, they're working on an exclusive game, so their tongues can't be completely and utterly loose, which is the same, by the way, for the PlayStation 4 developers who are working on exclusives, and that's, fine and dandy. But I would have still liked to have gotten it, because even if you assume that an opinion is biased, you can at least get the information from it, and it gives you an understanding upon it. Regardless, hopefully you've enjoyed the relatively brief video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.